Look at this. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Oh! It's shooting at us. Oh! Welcome back to Turtles Hot Rods. I forgot to record an intro for this video back in January, so this is it. We're gonna get the truck running in this video. And I know I've said that the last couple of videos, but literally, I have been filming things for 8 months, and I did not let myself upload this video until it was running. Not drivable yet, but running. Let's get to it. So, last thing I did was taillights and stuff, and we're just going to continue working on the engine, getting everything bolted together, getting everything plumbed up, getting everything plugged in, and then we're going to move on to chassis power, the chassis harness for the body, you know, headlights and that kind of thing. And then we're going to try to start this thing. So, you know, there's a lot of work left to do, but while I have the front end not bolted onto the truck, I'm going to do every single thing that I can think of to the engine. So I just got the correct water pump installed to go. So the next thing that I need to do is mark my valley cover and actually notch out everywhere where there's this little foot thing, the intake manifold on the valley cover, so that the intake can rest on the cylinder heads, so that there will be no binding whenever I go to tighten down the bolts for the intake manifold, so that the gasket can seal properly. Because right now it's raised up almost 1/4 of an inch on both sides pretty much, because it's hitting the valley cover, and you can actually see where it knocked the paint off, everywhere that there's a little spot, so, for the intake runner. So anyway, so I'm gonna get the marker out and mark it, and then tape everything up, cover everything up, and get a die grinder and do that. When you're working on a car and you just got that bolt that's like impossible to get to and really hard to tighten, and you sit there and you wonder, what stupid engineer designed this? Well, this time I'm the stupid engineer that designed this, and I feel like an idiot. I need a ratcheting wrench that'll fit in there, but there's like, look, there's no room. I'm barely, and I'm trying not to scratch anything. Like 20 minutes later, and the bolt is tight. You need to check your transmission fluid. This comes up and out. Yeah, we might have a minor issue. I think I'm going to have to extend each and every injector pigtail. I'm pretty sure that this factory harness is meant for half of the wiring harness to lay on this valve cover and the other half to lay on the other valve cover. And then these injectors probably go like this in the holes to where you can just unclip them real easily. Well, I don't want to do it that way. I want to run the wires under the intake manifold to hide them. I don't know if that's possible. I'd like to do it that way. And if it is possible, I may just need to extend these little pigtails just a little bit to where it can go swoop and clip onto there. And then you won't really see all the wiring harnesses, and I can zip tie them down nicely to some little sticky pads or something stuck to that clean valley cover there. Because I like the way that's looking. I like seeing those long intake runners. It makes it look real beefy. Makes the engine look cool, you know. You see the air, how the air is going to travel through the motor. It's pretty neat. I like that. I want to be able to see that, you know. Got a cool feeling to it. I think I'm going to throw the whip, that thing. I'm going to put that on there. And I'm probably just going to put a piece of tape over each one of the injector holes for now. I have 2 sets of injectors. I need to take them and get them tested and cleaned somewhere. I'm going to pop a little picture up on the screen of what I was looking at to build this. This is the brake master cylinder and the block. I don't know what the heck you call this thing. Proportioning valves built in there somehow for the disc brake kit for the CPP disc brakes that we got. All right. I am going to try to do this by myself. I don't know how this is going to go. I'm a little nervous about scratching some things because this master cylinder assembly is kind of heavy, and my firewall is so pretty, and I don't want to mess it up. So what I'm going to do, I need somewhere to set this. Maybe I just set it right there. Maybe not. Just like that. You stay? Okay. Climb up here. Sit on my tire. Alright, I got my nuts. I got my wrench. Got everything I need. Now this thing's heavy, and then this little rod right here is going to push on the master cylinder, which is going to give me a little bit of spring load action. You know what? I need to put anti-seize on there. Do that real quick. We got it in February something 3 years ago. And it still don't run. Alright, now go on there. I want a washer. And that. Oh, please tell me that's gonna work. Alright, I got one side on. Washer. Nut. Oh boy. I don't know about getting that valve cover on with this thing on there. Okay, it ain't going nowhere now. Alright. So I got the master cylinder on there. It looks good. This fella here needs to go to that. You can see how far away it is. It can't really go up and down because of where it's at. So I'm wondering if I need to put like a loop-de-loop right there and on the other side as well. I think that's what I might do, but I'm gonna call my buddy and see what he thinks. Okay, so my push rod right there needs to come out, and I need to shorten it because this brake pedal can't move because the piston in the master cylinder is compressed. And I'm going to watch some YouTube videos on how to get it the exact perfect length that it needs to be. I'm going to pull these 2 brake lines off, and I'm going to run a loop. I'm going to run them in a loop somewhere around in here, around a spray paint can or something like that, to shorten them up. And then we'll reattach them and hopefully get them all back together. And then once we get all that done, the brake master cylinder will be pretty much done. I do want to put some lock washers under here, although I don't know if it's entirely necessary. I don't really like the idea of having that be snug and not have a lock washer on it, because I don't want it to vibrate loose. That would be bad. I got under there and marked it, and the edge of the brake pedal lined up right here. I couldn't get it in the hole to mark where the hole needs to be, but I'm assuming I need to shorten this whole thing about 1 inch to 1/2 inch. So I'm not going to do 1 inch at a time, but I'm going to loosen this nut, and it looks like we can gain 1/4 inch right there. So I'm going to see if we can do that and see how much it changes. All right, we have the brake master cylinder bolted on. The pedal is working like it's supposed to now. You can see the push rod up in there doing its thing. Full range of motion. It doesn't bind up. You should be able to push it with your hand. If I would have got in here and jammed it with my foot trying to bust it loose, I would have broken something, because what was happening is the master cylinder was actually bottomed out because our push rod was so long. But put some grease on everything whenever I put it all back together, so we should be good to go. But there's just a tad bit of slack in that rod. So it shouldn't be pushing any pressure on the master cylinder. I might have to adjust that a little bit in the future, but for right now I'm going to consider it good. All of my brake lines are tight and routed. All right, I got this side done, and listen how this sounds. Sounds solid. Here's the bed. All right, door. Sucker sounds good. All right, I'm just gonna do it before and after, basically, on all these wires, because it's a lot of tedious crap that, you know, is not super important for me to show you how I do it. I'm just going to be cutting wires, shortening them, splicing them back together, heat shrinking them, and then covering them back up with the plastic protective stuff. But what I'm going to do, I thought this was kind of smart, with the plugs for the coil packs. Normally, these wires, this big harness here and this big harness over here, just sits on top of the valve covers, and these plugs are just, they got plenty of room. But with running them down in the middle like this, it's kind of a pain in the butt. But they're just barely long enough. I don't think I need to lengthen them at all. They're just barely long enough, but my plug is out here in the open right here. And it looks bad. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to snip it right here behind this plug. And I'm going to snip it probably right here behind this wire. I'm going to take that wire off, that tape. And I'm going to flip it around. So I'm going to take this longer pigtail, put it over here, and the shorter pigtail, and put it right there. And then we can plug everything back in. I have one side done how I want it to be. And you can't really, I got this whole deal laying off to the side. But you can see how much longer it is before we get to the plug. And now the plug is laying right smack dab in the middle of the valley cover. It's cold out here. It's 6 degrees. Well, it feels like 6 degrees Fahrenheit for all of you weirdos. I've just been working on some wiring stuff. The pigtail for the alternator came in, so got that tied in. I'm working on O2 sensors right now. I'm gonna shorten these guys up a lot. I'm gonna put this plug like right here pretty much, because that is the plug it's got to go into. Same thing on the other side. There's just a lot of extra slack from the O2 sensor. I put the door handles on a few minutes ago. They're not hooked up to anything, any latches or anything, but I'm probably gonna have to trim the boom mat out because it keeps falling down. It's not stuck good. So I'm gonna trim that boom mat away and remove it. We don't really need it up there in the top. I mean, it does enough having it covered where it's covered, but I don't know if it's because it's cold or what, but I don't want it to do that whenever the windows are installed because it might get in the window and get in a bind and break something. So anywho, I'm just trying to plug away at this thing, doing what I can. All right, I've just been working a little bit here, a little bit there. Got the, what is that thing called? The dome light. Got it wired up and put in. It's done now. Come back up here to the engine, and I've realized something. So we are going to be using Dakota Digital gauges in this truck, and I have the controller box right there. I was looking into the oil pressure sensor because I remember my buddy Corey telling me that I needed to use the oil pressure sensor that came with my gauges, or it wouldn't work. And so I was looking into it, and apparently I also need to use the water temperature sensor that comes with the gauges. I've just been working on doing alternator wiring, and with the alternator that we have, it has a 2-pin plug. You can see the 2 wires going into it right there, and then the one big feed wire coming off of it. I put some wire loom around it, and I'm running it with the big harness. I need y'all to look at something real quick. I'm perched up here like a daggum gargoyle, sitting on this tire, 7 feet off the ground, working on this truck. And I have made this wire loom here to go down to the starter. Now, it don't come like this. It comes a lot longer and uglier. This is coming off of my alternator. This is purple wire that is the starter signal wire. It was 17 feet long, so I chopped it with about 4 feet of excess, and I'll run that up to the ignition switch, I believe. I gotta run it to the ignition switch, but I'll have plenty to have slack inside the cab. And then these 2 go to the PCM and ECM, or whatever the heck it's called, the computer. And then this, I think, is the crankshaft position sensor. And it goes, that's that black plug right there above the starter. So I've been building this thing, and I'm about to try to bolt it on. And hopefully it all connects and does right, because if it don't, I'm going to take it back apart, and that'll be tomorrow's job. And then I put all this heat shielding on there, because it's going to be right there near the header. And I don't want to have any melted wires. So, well, it has been a week or so since the last clip that you saw, and I think I was starting the injector wiring, and I have finally finished it. So I think in the last clip the pigtail that I was putting on was incorrect, so let me just find one on the ground over here. So this plug here is what came in the harness that we ordered, and that's the wrong plug. So we had to figure that out and order some correct ones. So these are the right ones. These are LS3 plugs, and for some reason those are the injectors that we have, which is fine. I mean, it's the injectors will fit in the manifold and all that, so we just had to get the right pigtails. And I had to extend them because all of our wires are running through the middle of the engine on the valley cover here, and they'll just kind of come out so that everything's nice and hidden. So this is the frontmost injector plug, and it'll plug something like that. And once it's hooked up, we can put zip ties on and tidy up all the wires and everything else. So as far as that goes, that's pretty much done. I got the starter. Let me get around here where you can see it. I was working on the starter wiring. It's all done up in a couple layers of that DEI heat shielding, and I think that's the crankshaft position sensor thing down there. Same harness. Shortened up some of those wires as well. You can see how nice and neat the starter wiring is. The only thing that I lack on the starter wiring is the battery coming from the wire coming from the battery. And I'm gonna run it along the frame rail here, and about where that brake line is, it's just gonna whoop and hook right onto there, and it'll have some more heat protective on it. I don't remember if I showed the alternator or not, but that's what we got going on here. Some red heat shrink on this wire here to let everybody know, hey, that sucker is going to be live. All right, well, you can see I got my wiring tidied up a little bit here. Got my wires run pretty well hidden. Kind of like how I got them going. Got everything in a nice tidy mix in the middle here. I know it looks like a big old centipede or whatever, but when the intake goes on and everything is plugged in, we should be pretty well organized. Got the temp sensor hooked in, tightened it down gently, did not over tighten it, and I have put some drain holes in the bottoms of the doors. And if you look over there on the other side, you see them 2 pieces of green tape right over there in the bottoms of the rocker panels as well. Now what I'm going to do is spray some cavity wax in the bottom of the door. So you can see down in there where my holes are. I need to seal up that seam. So I replaced the bottoms of these doors, and it's pretty much just raw metal down up in there, and I want to coat all of that real good to where it can't rot out. Because, you know, you try to seal up this window hole and this door hole and around the door handles and stuff as best you can, but there's no way to do it perfectly, and it's going to leak and get water in there. So you want to seal it as good as you can and also have some drainage so that the water and debris that gets in there can come right out. Same thing with the rocker panels. So I only did 2 holes because I've got this front hole in here, and you know, I think 2 holes will be enough. I didn't really want to do a very, very front one, but maybe I should. I don't know. Anyway, so this is what I've been using. It's Eastwood internal frame coating. I got a piece of tape on there, and what I did, so it comes with this tube thing here, and on the end of that tube thing is a nozzle, little brass nozzle with 4 or 5 holes in it. And I put a zip tie and some tape to it, to the end of this stick. It's about 24 inches long or so. And that way I can run it all the way up in the rocker panel. And you'll be able to see up inside of there, hopefully. You can see all the way up in there. All that is coated. Oop. There we go. You can see all the way to the end of the rocker panel. The top, the left, the right, the bottom, all sealed up. And there's even some in the very back, which I'll be able to get back there and spray that up under the gas tank. And then you can see it kind of puddling up toward the front here. Again, it's really hard to film this. Look at that cute little fella. He's going to go up behind the door. It kind of fits the profile of the door. Just like that. He's going to go right there and be a reinforcement plate. I'm going to glue it in and then sandwich it in between our mirror assembly. And it's going to go right up against the inside of the door where it's kind of rotten right there, because I didn't want to, whenever I was doing the metal repair on this door, I repaired some rust in the bottom, and I thought about fixing that, but I didn't want to mess up my paint by running weld around there or have to repaint any of this area. So I just come up with an idea way back to take a piece of aluminum and shape it into the shape of the door, and I can glue it on there, and that should give us a good bit of strength back, probably more than it had originally. All right, I don't know how much I have filmed since the last time that I filmed. I haven't been filming a whole lot of stuff because this wiring is just tedious, time consuming, and doesn't look like I'm doing anything on a time lapse. So this is the wiring for the AC compressor. Kind of routes nice and neat up under there, goes along this little doohickey here, and ties into the main harness. We got this oil fill cap on eBay. It was billet oil fill cap thing. I had to modify my bolts a little bit so that they fit. Just some regular hex head bolts. O-ring goes around the lid here, the cap, and then O-ring around the bottom. And what I'm going to do is take this valley cover plate off, which is going to be kind of a pain in the butt, but I'm going to take it off, drill a hole in the middle of this, a large hole, the inside diameter of this, I think it's 1.25 inches, and then 4 smaller holes, and just bolt this oil filler cap with an O-ring onto this valley cover so that we can have an oil filler right there under the intake that is easy to get to. Because when this is all put together, there shouldn't be anything right here, and you should be able to reach your arm in and get that cap loose, and then throw a funnel in there and fill it up with oil whenever you pull up to a gas station or something, if we need it. You know, if nothing else, it'll just make changing the oil that much easier on this truck. I want this truck to be serviceable. I want it to be drivable. I want to be able to get in it and take it to Texas and not have to worry about it, you know, and literally just be able to drive it there. Well, if I have to pull off the top of the valve cover to put oil in right there or right there, it's going to be kind of a pain in the butt because of how tight that we are. I mean, you look at how close that coil is to the firewall. I don't understand how I'm going to make those valve covers fit. I know I'm going to have to cut them up some more. I know that I'm going to have to modify them some more. So not having to take that off and just coming over here and unscrewing this is going to be really, really nice. But I'm going to paint this the same color as the valley cover so that it kind of disappears, because whenever it's all said and done, we don't really want that to stick out, because right now it just jumps out at you, and that would look like an afterthought. So we're going to take it all apart. We're going to paint this the same color, put it back together just like that. Also today we got some mirrors installed. So this side I just used the factory plates and stuff, and then you saw that piece that I made that went up inside the door, and I should be able to film it for this side. I did put a bunch of glue on it. Let's see if we can. There you go. You can see that plate in there now, and how much that's actually doing. It seems like it's doing quite a bit. Let's see if we can get some light in here. Yeah, so you can see how that plate just fits to the back side of the door pretty well. Pretty happy with how that turned out. Other thing I did the majority of the afternoon is just played with wires. So we got a bunch of stuff hooked up to the Dakota Digital now. Well, you can see I have done some work. I have not filmed anything the last couple of days, since I think I left off talking about this oil filler cap, which now that everything is installed, you can see how I can reach in here pretty easily. It's not really going to be anything else right here. It's going to be a valve cover, but that shouldn't get in the way. Reach in there, remove the cap, get it out without hurting nothing, and you can see a direct access. I have just spent the last hour and a half looking for this bracket, and I'm glad I found it, because I was about to go make one, and I was looking up the dimensions and stuff. Anyway, that bracket goes right here to hold that steering column in. I've just got it shoved through the firewall right now, and you can see where it's coming out. And the bottom of it is cream colored, and it looks stupid. Now I just need to put the clamp on the bottom of it, and I can continue with my wiring. Look at there, steering column in the truck. Haven't seen that in a while. Oh. I need to put the gauges in first. Oh, shit. Came all the way out. That ain't good. Alright, well, I realized I'm not going to be able to install the steering column until I have the gauges installed. Because there just simply isn't enough room once the steering column is in to get the gauges in, because of the way my firewall pass-through is. It doesn't allow the column to droop or drop a few inches. It can drop about a ½ inch, but that's it. And, well, this is the way I have to do it. So I went and made a little mental checklist of things that need to be done before I can install the gauges. Let me show y'all something. So I'm doing, you know, I got the fan relays wired up, got all that stuff happy, and just trying to work on getting everything done so I can get these gauges in here. So the next thing is getting these washer hoses happy. Well, I originally was going to run them through the kick panel vent there and up through the cowl to where they got to go. But I only bought 10 feet because I thought that'd be enough, and it ain't. So what I'm gonna do instead is I have drilled a hole right there at the boom and just run it straight through the firewall. Well, drilling that hole was tricky enough because of where it's at. I mean, it's behind the dash and my drill will not fit in there. Normally you'd have a 90-degree drill, but I don't have one of those fancy drills. And now I got to get my step bit in there and it just won't fit. So this is what I have come up with. I wrapped some tape around the end of my step bit and shoved it in this 10mm socket, and hopefully it'll work. Now that didn't work. My tape just kind of melted as soon as I started trying to drill, but I got another idea. Look there. I grinded it into a 6-sided hexagon shape with my belt sander and the vise, and now a 9mm socket fits on there very tight and snug. Now that's gonna work. Let's go drill that hole. That worked quite well. Now you can see my feed hoses go whoop, right over there through the firewall. Looky there, I got the dash pad in. Looks pretty good. The color match is pretty close. A little bit more of a reddish brown on the paint, but you know what? Honestly, it's good enough. Been working on the truck a good bit off camera last couple of days, just doing wiring and stuff, and put the core support back on it. Hopefully this is the last time it'll be bolted on, you know. It's not tight or anything, but the nuts are just finger tight. And been working on getting the radiator in, and we got a Speedway Motors universal radiator kit with a shroud and 2 fans. Painted everything black. It all came like polished aluminum or whatever, and you know we can't have that. Gotta make that hide. So just been doing that, getting some brackets mounted to get this thing in here, and it looks like it'll work pretty good. It is a tad bit taller than the core support, which could give me some complications later on, but I don't think it'll be that big of a deal. I'm gonna make a panel that covers all of this so that you don't see none of this stuff, and I want it to look nice. The only thing that you'll see is the radiator cap, potentially. You may not even see that. I really don't know how I'm gonna do it just yet, but it will hide everything and serve as kind of like a extra little fan shroud or whatever, so to make sure all the air is coming through the front here. Check that out. Got some mounts fabricated up, 1/8" aluminum. Got them all bent up. Got some holes drilled for some bolts. The hood latch still fits like it's supposed to. Time to get them painted up and move on to the next thing. Went ahead and got the AC condenser mostly installed, and I cut the heads off of the screws I used to attach the radiator bracket. It should be completely fine that I cut them off flush. I mean, it really shouldn't matter. And then I just spray painted some satin black right over top of them, and now they're here. I'm on the way to get a battery for the truck. Maybe I should have brought the boat. Mario hasn't made an appearance in a minute. He's not going to like this whenever I cut this handle off this battery. Oh yeah, this is a battery. This is the battery box. Check this out. It fits, but not all the way. See, it's catching. That handle is catching on the lip there. So we're going to have to get rid of the handle, which kind of a bummer, but not that big a deal. So I'm going to cut it off with this, and then the battery will fit in a tray, and we'll go over and get everything wired up and start testing some electronics. All right, I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this, but I'm about to try to bench press this battery in over my gourd. So I'm hoping you should be able to see it from there. It's in the box and it's heavy. I don't know how much it weighs, but it's heavy. Oh! Alright. Get these wires out of the way. on now. Whew, I got in there. Okay. That wasn't bad. All right, we're about to cut the power on for the first time and hopefully not let any smoke out. I got the battery wired up and the kill switch is off currently. And let's see. Alright, battery is all the way up and it's home. Nothing's hitting that could cause an issue. Alright, I'm gonna cut it on. You ready? Nothing should happen. Okay, that's the starter. Why did that just do that? The starter Bendix shot out.
Power hit it is all I can figure.
I know, but it ain't supposed to do that, I wouldn't think. I think one of my wires on the hot side of the starter is touching on that center post. See that guy right there? I think it might be touching. So what I need to do is loosen up this nut right here and pull that down and then tighten it back down where none of that is touching. I think that might be touching. Well, I just cussed. Look at what just happened. That ain't good. So I loosened up that nut, grabbed his finger, pulled it around, and was tightening it up. And I did not tighten it too tight. I don't know why that broke. But we're going to need a brand new starter now. Wow. Alright. New starter is installed. Everything's hooked up. I'm about to cut the power back on. And check and make sure ain't nothing wrong. Let's see. Alright. Starter solenoid didn't click that time. That's good. Let's see if I see any smoke anywhere. Oh, our door ajar lights are working. Hey, that's pretty neat. Alright, so we got power to them. Our dome light isn't working though. Wonder why that ain't working. That's interesting. They work if I push the button in too. So, one thing I am going to do is actually tape them off. I don't want them running. Okay, everything is on. Ooh, that's because it's sitting in the sun. Let's see, they should do something now. There it goes. Okay. It's got a check engine light. Wonder what that means. Uh-oh. Alright, well, upon further inspection, the light up under there is reading correctly. It's blinking like it should. We're getting a proper voltage reading right at 12.3 volts or whatever that says. Coolant temp is about 85, 90 degrees, which is what the ambient temperature is right now. So I'm going to go ahead and prime it up for some oil pressure. I have the fuel pump fuse removed, so it's not been priming. It's out of gas anyway. So I guess we're just going to do this, and hopefully nothing leaks, and we see this gauge rise up. Here we go. There it goes. It's building. Not building much. I hate these new style gas cans. I absolutely detest them. I don't know what kind of gas this is. As far as I know, it's lawnmower gas. I'm gonna be real smart. I don't have a fire extinguisher here with me, but I do have a garden hose. And I'm gonna get it right over here next to the truck. Let's listen. It's obviously working. I'm gonna do that a couple of times because it sounds like it's dry. Oh, there it goes. We got fuel pressure now. Well, you know, I might be the biggest dummy to ever try to do this because I was wondering why it wouldn't fire up even a little bit, or try to. And then I realized I didn't have a single spark plug wire plugged in. So now that all that's done, now we're gonna try it again. My gas pedal is not making the throttle body move, so it may still not run, but it should at least try to. So we'll see. It ran! It did it! It did it! It did it, Mama!
Yes!
Oh my gosh! It ran! Mama's out here.
That's the first.
Holy crap, it ran for half a second.
Yep.
That means I did.
Did you turn it off or it turned it?
No, it died. It died. Okay. But, and then I killed the key. But holy cow, I'm gonna do it again with the, I'm gonna open up the cutouts because that was with them closed. So that's kind of how it'll sound with them closed. So let's see. All right. Now let's see what it does. I don't think the throttle blades right here are doing anything whenever I hit the pedal. So, but that does mean that the injectors are working, the coil packs are working, the computer isn't junk, like stuff is doing the things that it's supposed to do. Man, that is exciting. Listen, I know this seems kind of simple, but I've never done any of this stuff before. So, sick.
See, right. He even don't have faith.
I'm gonna hook up the torque converter. Yeah, I did put it together. There was a rock in it at one point, but I don't think there's any rocks in it anymore.
We hope not.
Yeah, we hope not.
Because then the motor will make little rocks.
Oh, it'll make something. When you do, are you putting it on?
Yep.
You gonna be eating chips? He's eating chips with the microphone.
Well, that's better than you've done.
Is it?
Fix the issue with your take air tip sensor.
Well, we've been playing with wires for a couple hours now, trying to figure out why the pedal won't talk to the throttle body up there. And we went through the throttle body wiring and changed a few things around, but it's still not working. So now this is the TAC module. This is what the pedal talks to, and then this goes into the thingamajig that goes up to the throttle body or something like that. But stuff is backwards on these pins. We've got 5 volts on some of them that need to be ground, and we've got ground on some of them that need to be 5 volts, and we're currently trying to figure out if this TAC module is bad. I bought it used off of eBay, and it came with that pedal, and supposedly it came from a running driving car that was running driving at the time that it was wrecked and put in a junkyard. And I didn't mess with the harness or nothing for none of this, but we're trying to figure out what is going on and if we can just swap some of the wires around on that pigtail over there that goes into the pedal to get everything lining up right with the pedal to make it work. But anyway, that's kind of where we're at. Also, the the map sensor in the intake manifold is no good, so I won't be able to get it running today. It does have gas in it. I won't be able to get it running today till we get a new map sensor, so we're going to order one of those. Look at this. What you doing up there? What are you doing up there? check out that cool little camera angle. Also, I finally got the shift linkage working correctly. So we're in park right now. Neutral. I mean, reverse. Neutral. Overdrive. Third. Second. First. Second. Third. 4. Neutral. Reverse. Park. Now I know what you're thinking. Why are you showing me that? It's not very exciting. Well, it's not very exciting. But I've been working on trying to get that working for a combined probably 2 days, 3 days, which sounds like a long time because it is. Because your boy is stupid. And sometimes he doesn't look up how to do things before he does them. And that's not everything. Whenever I did the motor, I followed a guide or looked stuff up on everything. But when it came to the shift linkage setup, I was like, oh yeah, I'll just put the arm like that on the transmission and put the arm like that on the column. And then, oh look, the rod needs to be cut shorter because it's a universal adjustable thing. And okay, well now it won't go into all the gears. I had this problem where if you started in park, it would only go down to third. And if you started in first, it would never go home to park. So I used AI and the internet, and it helped me figure out where to clock the transmission lever, which it's supposed to clock around 8 o'clock. Like, you know, you imagine a clock. I'm going to put one on the screen. You know, you got 12, 3, 6, 9. So 8 o'clock is like down like that a little bit. And then the column is supposed to clock at 10:30 to 11, so like that. So I did my best to get the column where it goes and then get the transmission about where it goes. And then, holy cow, my transmission shift rod is way too short because I cut the piece off like 3 months ago or whatever. But I kept that piece, tack welded it back together just to test it, and the baby works perfectly now. Which I don't know how much of this stuff I have filmed in the last few months. Like, there have been weeks where I didn't even pick up the camera and I worked on this thing every single day, because I've been going through electrical problems. Like, just to catch you up to speed, what I've done so far, I have gone through the entire wiring harness. Every single pin that is in that plug that goes into the ECU, I've double checked is in the correct location and is going to the correct thing. I have troubleshooted the tack module. That is a different tack module than we started with. I think the original one was fine. That is a different PCM than we started with, because the original PCM had something wrong with it where drive-by-wire would not work, even though it's a drive-by-wire PCM. It wasn't throwing codes. I just think there was something wrong with the computer. This throttle body is not going to work. It is not a GM OEM throttle body. It's a eBay knockoff. It's a cheap eBay throttle body, and that's unfortunate because it is a 102 millimeter throttle body. But in all honesty, we don't really need the 102 millimeter throttle body. A 90 will be fine for what we're doing. It'll just have a little bit higher velocity coming in right there. And then this adapter right here is the cheap eBay version, which was 25 bucks. The legit version is 330 bucks. So we've ordered a used throttle body that's a GM original throttle body for $130. It's on the way. Whenever it gets here, I'm hoping I can just plug it into this and it work, because apparently this adapter will not work with the aftermarket style throttle bodies. It's not like that's a bad throttle body. If this was on like your Camaro or whatever, it'd probably work fine. But when you're using that adapter, you have to have a GM original throttle body. So it has taken months to figure out all of that information, and it still doesn't run. But the throttle body should be here in a few days, and then we should be able to get this thing running. Oreo, what are your thoughts on the truck? Can I get your thoughts, please? Okay, thank you. All right, so it does run. I'm about to show it to you running. Be warned though, it needs to be tuned, so it is not running perfectly. I can't really rev it up that good. It'd probably die if I put it in gear. I don't honestly know. Gonna hook up the wideband tomorrow and go through a bunch of other stuff. Like, need to check the wiring for all the coils because it's popping while it's idling sometimes. And me and Corey think that that's because maybe a wire got crossed up in the harness for the coils, and I need to get that straightened out. So anyway, we're going to get a little video of it running, let you listen to it and everything, open up the cutouts and stuff, and then we're going to end the video off, guys. And it's like middle of August right now. I started filming in January of this year, and I've been stumped for 2 months trying to get it to sit here and idle and run, and now it does. I'm so happy that I'm done with that part of it. But next video, we're going to be all about making it drive. We're going to put a window in it, we're going to put a seat in it, and we're taking this thing for a test drive. I mean, 3.5 years in the making, and next video will be the first test drive. In this video, you actually get to hear it. So without further ado, let's crank this thing up. See, it's a little hard to start, but it's running. We got 45 pounds of oil pressure. There it goes popping. I'm gonna rev it up a little bit. It don't really want to rev. I'm gonna open up the cutouts. That's loud. God, dog. God. Woo! Close them pipes back up. Yeah, it's running kind of rough, but it does run. And it ain't leaking anything but power steering fluid. So I just got some loose lines or something I need to tighten up, but it's smoking like a train, cooking all of the oil and stuff off the exhaust and cooking all of the paint onto the headers. And but I got water in it. I'm gonna cut these fans on, let them be going. I got the radiator fans wired up to my jump box. Radiator's not warm yet. That hose isn't warm yet, so it's not doing its thing yet, but look at there. He's running and shooting at us. Listen at it. Alright, let's cut it off. Alright. Well, the good news is we got it running and we have good oil pressure. I put that motor together. I've never done that before. And we got 45 pounds at idle, which makes me very happy. And still got a lot of work to do figuring it out, but next video I'm gonna start off by just trying to get it to quit doing that popping mess when it sits here and idles. And then we're going to get the fans wired up to where they're supposed to be wired up to, which is these wires here. And get a fender on it, maybe 2 fenders on it. Get the steam port kit on it, or not steam port kit, the breather kit. Get the coolant overflow stuff. Finish with the shifter linkage, finish bleeding the brakes, bunch of stuff so that we can hop in it and take it down the road and tune it, because we actually have to drive it to tune it. We'll hook up a wideband to it that'll tell us our air-fuel ratio, and then we can change timing, we can change fuel, we can change all that stuff once we get that data. But yeah, we're getting real close, folks. Cruising the Coast is 1.5 months away from whenever I upload this video, if I upload it tomorrow. Today is Saturday night. I'm thinking I'm gonna try to upload it tomorrow, Sunday night. So anyway, if you made it this far and you're not subscribed, you really ought to be, because you just watched like a video over an hour long about a truck. And a lot of work that I did this year. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.